Okay, so this is my top 3 coolest things from last year's GenCon. Or something like that. So toys are awesome and board games are great. I'd get into Dungeons and Dragons if it weren't so complicated. As a child, I made up my own games and their rules using like my Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, and Ghostbusters playsets. I love miniature systems and worlds in general, but over the years, my interest in actual toys has kind of taken a back seat to game design because, let's face it, I mean, a plastic action figure can, maybe kick or punch, but it can't like have a schedule and then go home and then decide it's hungry and go to the tavern and talk with people. As things like the Oculus Rift become more prevalent and useful, there might come a day when we can actually play and interact with virtual playsets that don't have the limitations of mechanics in the actual world. So I'm a game design guy and a filmmaker, but I still really appreciate the craftsmanship of these tangible objects. That's why I like these. These sets are designed for the game Infinity, and they're by Warsenal, which is Arsenal with a war. Like all of this stuff, it's kind of expensive. For someone who hasn't bought toys in like 20 years and is now like, what? A Star Wars action figure is $10? For someone like me, it's kind of expensive, but it's really cool to see sci-fi Starship Troopers style outposts. The style of some of these is a little too geometric and airbrushed for my taste, which is why I like these even more. Hearst Arts makes these molds, which are expensive for a casual person again, but not too bad if you actually are really into this. And once you have a mold, you can make an infinite number of each object, so assuming you're willing to paint them yourself, you can make awesome fantasy stuff, and it looks more like beveled candy than like a real place, which is really my style. You could put your characters in there and they could trade using these coins. They're called campaign coins. These coins are awesome. My older brother loved Legos and pirates and even buried a treasure in the backyard. And although we're pretty sure that our stepdad's Santa Claus looking gasoline stealing friend used a metal detector and dug it out of the ground and took it like a jerk, it was still really cool to have done that. And the chest looked like this one and the coins inside looked like these, and these coins would have fit right in there. You could use these as pogs or as currency, and there's a coin type for every need. Also, the people who make them are like from Australia and they're really cool. They're the King of the Castle Games Company, and they make all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, as a game developer and filmmaker, these kinds of things really spark my imagination. Like, who made these? Who uses them? What about a story that follows the life of a single coin through a lush fantasy world from the docks to the market to the thieves guild to the palace to the high seas, and then, after a pirate attack, to the bottom of the sea, only to be discovered again by adventurers years or centuries later. Like, I think about a lot of this stuff and it's really cool. There are a lot of possibilities. So these are my top 3 small things from GenCon 2014? Yeah, 2014, that was last year. Yeah, so go out and check around the showroom floor because there are probably some of these vendors that are here again this year. Oh, also an honorable mention, magic cards. Okay, after the Card Hala charity thing that happens each year on the Saturday night, you can get free cards. Now a lot of them have been stepped on and probably have toilet water on the bottom of them from people walking in the bathrooms and walking all over the cards. But if you don't care about that, it's awesome. After last year's Card Hala thing, I gathered all the magic cards I could, and I took like 17 giant black garbage bags back to my house, and I spent 3 months sorting through them with my sister, who gave up after a couple of bags. There are so many cards to go through that while I was spending hours and hours going through them while watching House of Cards or The Office or Once Upon a Time on Netflix, I came up with a naming system for types of bins in cards. Because I sorted through a lot of them just making sure that their backs weren't damaged, I haven't seen a lot of the faces, and I could get all kinds of ideas for stories and stuff just by looking at those. Not that I'm much of a card-playing kind of guy. I really hope somebody else takes all the cards this year, because I don't want to do it, and I can't stand the thought of thousands of generic magic cards going into the landfill. But if you want free magic cards, just wait until after the event is over, and don't get in the way of the actual charity event that's happening, and you'll probably be fine. As long as you don't steal money that's been thrown in there and actually give that up whenever you find it, you're actually helping them clean up. And don't tell the dumpster guardian guys that you're going to take a bag of cards and then just leave it outside where it's going to explode all over the world. Apparently people have done that before, so don't do that. Maybe there's a Black Lotus card. Probably not, but you never know. Actually you do, because these are all common cards, and I'm just kind of a sucker / hoarder for anything sentimental from my childhood. Also, what do you call a hoarder with enough shelves? A collector. Deuces.